Howdy, howdy, Chris here, and welcome back to Garage Noise. Today, we're talking about base coat, clear coat finishes. I'm gonna show you how to apply your base coat so it's nice and silky smooth. We're also gonna talk about clear coat application and give you some secrets on how to adjust your gun and some different spraying techniques gonna help you apply a better looking clear coat. So let's get in the garage and make some noise. This is a 2018 Chevy Colorado. We painted this door previously. The color was a little bit off, so we went ahead and had O'Reilly's come down with their scan tool, and they scanned it, got the color very close, so it's a very blendable color. Now we're gonna repaint this door. We're gonna blend into this door here. We're gonna spray the fender, and then we're gonna respray the bumper with the correct color, a color that's much closer than the previous color we painted that bumper. So I'm going to share with you how to apply the base coat today. I had some questions on how to apply base coat. People are getting rough finishes, and I want to share with you how to properly apply that so you get a nice silky smooth finish, because if you don't get a silky smooth finish on your base coat, your clear coat will never be flat and glassy. So let's talk about how to set up your gun for base coat and how to apply it for a silky smooth finish. This is the gun we're going to be using for the base coat. Now for the clear coat, I'm going to go ahead and use the Segola 3300 GTO. I'm excited to show you that gun and share with you how well that gun performs. But as far as our gun settings for our base coat, we're going to want to go ahead and turn this fluid knob in all the way, and then we're going to do 2 turns out from closed. 1, 2. We're going to adjust our air pressure to, for base coat, you want to run it between 15 and 20 PSI, maybe a little bit higher than 20 PSI. You're just going to have to judge for yourself. But on this particular gun, around 20 PSI is perfect. Now, as far as the fan pattern, I'm going to open up the fan pattern all the way, and then I'm just going to dial it back, quarter of a turn. Now, this gun is a low volume, low pressure paint gun, so it requires less CFMs to operate, so it consumes less air to operate efficiently. So it's a really good gun for base coat. Go ahead and lay down some base on this, and I'll show you some techniques to laying a smooth base. So I've already started laying some coats of base on this. This was a E-coat that we sanded down with 600, and then we went ahead and put some adhesion promoter on the edges, and now we're gonna lay down some more base. Now when you're applying your first and second coat of base, you want a medium to wet coat. You don't want to put it on super wet right off the bat.
If you're new to painting, it doesn't hurt at all to put a dust coat on first. There's a couple of reasons why this might be helpful. If you're spraying in an open garage, you're not spraying in a booth, you're not spraying in a controlled environment, a light coat over the panel introduces that paint to the surface. If there's going to be any kind of chemical reaction, it's going to reduce that. I sprayed a vehicle the other day that was just purchased, and it was covered with tire dressing, so silicone, which is the absolute worst thing you can put on a vehicle if you're going to be painting it. This thing had a bath of silicone. So I had to wipe it down like 6 different times, and still when I applied my base, I put a medium to wet coat on, and there's a couple little fish eyes, which is a paint separation on the panel. Now that's easily taken care of. You can just let it dry and then dust coat it, and most of the time it's not going to affect your finish at all. Or you could just scuff it down a little bit and then recoat it in base. But my point is, put a dust coat on first just for insurance. Just a light coat, especially if you're new to painting or you're in an uncontrolled environment. Put your light coat on first, then you want medium to wet coats. Typically it's 2 to 3 coats until you get coverage. If you feel like you're not getting enough material on the panel, then just move a little closer to the panel. You don't have to adjust your gun, or you can just bump up your fluid volume just a little bit. If you want that silky smooth finish, it's important that you overlap your passes about 80%, especially with a low volume, low pressure paint gun. Now 80% means you make a pass, and then on your second pass, you're going to cover 80% of that previous pass. So you're overlapping your previous pass by 80%.
First thing I'm going to do is cut in under here. Now we'll make our first pass over here. Now I'm overlapping. Okay, so we'll let this flash off for about 15 minutes. You want to let your base coats flash off for about 15 minutes in between coats. On a hot day, it may be more like 10, but we'll let this set up just for a little bit. We'll come back, take a look at it, see how it looks, see if we need to make any adjustments on our gun. Okay, so let's take a look at this. It's been about 10 minutes. It's pretty warm today, 80 degrees. This is dry, and you can see how it's kind of flashed off. It's pretty smooth. I mean, we could bump up our air pressure just a little bit. I think this gun runs pretty good around 20 to 24 PSI, to be honest with you. So what we'll do is we'll put one more coat of base on this. It's pretty much covered now, and then we'll look over it with a sunlight. Now, as far as the blend on this door, what I'm gonna do is we're really blending the color into this door. I'll turn my tip so it's spraying like this, and I'll run one pass down this so we start the blend. And then I'll cover this door with color, one coat of color, and then our blend will be started on this door. And then I'll show you how we blend out into the door, okay? As far as the bumper cover is concerned, we just need to get a couple coats of paint on this. I've got a couple burn areas we need to cover up here. Right here's one. Basically, we just need to get the right color on this. When I spray this door, I'm gonna start with this right here, and I'm gonna put a coat or two right here covering this edge of this door. Now when I cover the rest of this door, I don't have to come out to the end. I don't want a bunch of overspray blowing out into this door. So I can just come to right here and we'll be good. Okay, so we've got one coat on the door. I've got one coat on the blend. We'll put another coat on here, another coat on the door, and then we'll start blending out into this door here. Fender is covered. I'm gonna show you how you can do a drop coat. Probably just show you how to do the drop coat on the door. We need one more coat on this bumper cover. So let's go ahead and spray another coat on this. And then I'll show you how to do a drop coat if you're doing a high metallic finish. As I put my final coat on, I'm going to come out to about here, about 6 inches out. And then after I put that coat on, I'm going to do a drop coat right here. So what I'll do when I do a drop coat is I'm going to do a cross pattern, like kind of this way, and then kind of this way. And what I'm doing, instead of 5 to 6 inches away, I don't adjust my gun. All I do is move back about 2 to 3 inches and then do a drop coat. That's all you need to do, and that works really well on metallics as well. But you only want to do it once. You don't need to do multiple coats of that, because then you'll get dry spray and you'll get roughness in your base, and you don't want that. Another thing is when I'm ending, I don't want a hard line here, so when I'm ending after the 6 inches, I kind of just turn my wrist out a little bit and then I start coming back the other direction. Now, drop coat right here. See how I'm moving back from it a little ways? And that's it. Now we got a perfect blend. We're gonna pour this to 4:1 mixing ratio, and now we're gonna add our 1 part of activator. And this is the gun we're using today. This is the Segola 3300 GTO. Using the Segola 3300 GTO, this is a beautiful gun, lays down a beautiful finish. It does consume about 10.4 CFMs of air. So compared to the aeropro A610 or the R500, this is a air hog. But it does produce a beautiful looking clear coat. So as far as the gun set up for clear coat, there's 4 things I really want you to understand. The 4 most important things when you're laying down clear coat is your air pressure, your fluid volume, your speed, and your distance. The speed and your distance affect how that clear coat lays down, and you can do a lot of different adjustments just by changing your speed and your distance from the panel. We're gonna set up this gun at 3 turns out from closed. So we're closing it all the way, we're turning it 3 turns out, okay? Fan pattern is going to be wide open. I'm setting the air pressure at 26 PSI. You want to start with a base setting that you're comfortable with. Now, I do recommend that you're under 3 turns out from closed on your fluid volume. When you adjust that to under 3 turns out on your fluid volume, you can make some adjustments with your speed and your distance, and I want you to try that and understand how that affects your clear coat. So let's go ahead and spray this fender. We'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna be 4 or 5 inches away. I'm gonna overlap my passes about 80%. That's important because that gives you a second coverage on that wet edge, and it's gonna allow that clear coat to flow out better. See, I'm using different techniques here.
Overall, this finish came out beautifully. Now on these two doors, I did have some particles of dust that I had to pick out. So I did end up putting a third coat of clear on this. I didn't show you guys that. So it has a little bit more texture than I would like, but it's still just like the OEM finish. One day I'll do a whole video on how to overcome obstacles when you're painting. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know down in the comments below. Thin wet coats is what you want when you're laying down clear coat. If you add another layer of clear, then you're going to have some more texture.
Now as far as the fender, we got a little piece of lint there that'll have to buff out. I actually bumped up the air pressure a little bit to about 28 psi, and it flowed out a little bit better. Although this is a flat surface, and when you're spraying a flat surface, it always flows out just a little bit better. So this is really flat. A few little particles of dust, but we'll cut and buff those out. As far as the bumper, came out nice. But I hope you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say here as far as your speed and your distance, and it's making sense to you. If it's not and you have questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. This will help with your application of your clear coat. I just want you guys to experiment with it, try different things, and see what works best for you.
Let me know about your project, and if you found this video helpful, down in the comments below. When you comment and support the channel, it inspires me to produce more video and better content for you. Listen, I appreciate all your support, and if you want to learn more about paint and body repair, check out one of these videos now. We'll see you next time on Garage Noise.